All right, so we're diving into another deep dive, and today it's Ryan Holiday's Discipline is Destiny.
Ooh, excellent choice.
We've got excerpts from the book here, and I think our mission is to, pull out some wisdom about self-discipline.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I really liked about this one was how Holiday uses all these stories, right,
Yes.
about historical figures and even some current leaders
Mm-hmm.
to kind of make his point. So it's not just like theoretical stuff.
Yeah, he brings in the stories to connect it back to real life, real people.
Exactly, and he doesn't hold back,
It
right?
isn't.
You've got Lou Gehrig.
Yeah.
You've got Queen Elizabeth.
Yep.
Marcus Aurelius.
The big names.
These are some heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that really struck me was how he kind of breaks down discipline into like different domains.
Right.
So he starts with like physical discipline, this idea of conquering the body.
Yeah. And he uses a great example right off the bat, Lou Gehrig,
Right.
the iron horse of baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, his streak of 2,130 consecutive games played.
That's insane.
It's just mind-boggling. And in a sport like baseball that's so physically demanding.
Yeah, it's not like tiddlywinks.
Right. It really highlights the dedication and willpower involved in achieving that level of consistency.
Yeah, it's amazing. But here's where it gets interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Holiday mentions this. It's almost a paradoxical situation with Gehrig.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, early on in his career, Gehrig, he had a bit of a slump.
Oh, okay.
And he went out drinking with his teammates one night and ended up playing hungover the next day.
Oh, no.
You would think that would be a recipe for disaster, right?
You'd think so, yeah.
But guess what?
What?
He played amazingly well that day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it made him realize that it was actually his own nerves, like overthinking, that was holding him back.
Interesting.
He almost accidentally, fed a performance enhancer.
It's almost like he stumbled upon a shortcut.
Right, but thank goodness he recognized the danger there.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, it's not about quick fixes.
Right.
It's about the consistent effort over time, right?
Yeah, Holiday really emphasizes that Gehrig understood that true discipline isn't about manipulating your body or your mind, but mastering them.
This reminds me of another point that Holiday makes, and that's attacking the dawn.
Okay.
And he uses Toni Morrison as an example.
Oh, wow. Another great one.
Yeah, so the incredible novelist Toni Morrison
Mm-hmm.
had this ritual of waking up like before sunrise
Mm-hmm.
to write.
Oh, I see.
It's not just about being an early bird. It's about intentionally, choosing to use those quiet hours for your craft.
It speaks to that idea of self-discipline as a conscious decision,
Yeah.
You're actively shaping your day.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah.
just a victim of circumstance.
You're not letting the day just happen to you.
Yeah.
You're in control. But then Holiday throws in this curveball, right?
Okay.
He contrasts these examples with King George IV, who basically is the opposite of discipline.
Oh, right. King George IV. Known for, well, let's just say he indulged.
He enjoyed the finer things in life a little too much,
Yeah, he definitely enjoyed his food and drink.
to say the least, yeah. And it really took a toll on his health.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, he became so overweight he could barely function.
Wow.
I remember reading that he even needed a special stamp, to sign documents because it was too much effort to actually physically sign his name.
That's a pretty stark consequence of neglecting physical discipline.
It is, yeah. It really highlights that connection between, physical discipline and just overall well-being.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, Holiday contrasts this with Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, yes, Teddy Roosevelt, all about the strenuous life.
Right. The strenuous life, pushing your physical and mental limits.
Embracing challenges.
Makes you wonder how many people today would sign up for that.
Right. Seems like we've become so accustomed to comfort and convenience.
Maybe there's something to be said for, like, embracing discomfort.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of Roosevelt's grit could do us all some good.
But what about those bad habits that feel impossible to break?
Oh, yeah, those are tough.
Holiday tackles that, too.
He does.
Yeah, he talks about Eisenhower and Richard Feynman.
Okay.
Two, like, brilliant minds,
Ah.
but they both battled addiction.
Right.
So Eisenhower was a chain smoker for decades,
Wow.
but he quit cold turkey when he realized the damage it was doing.
Good for him.
And Feynman, he noticed, like, a growing dependence on alcohol, and he chose to give it up completely.
These stories are inspiring because they show it's never too late to break free.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Even from those deep-rooted habits, it seems like the key is, recognizing the problem
Yeah.
and having that willpower to take action.
It's not about being perfect. It's about progress.
Right, exactly.
Recognizing where we need to improve.
And then Holiday brings up this fascinating figure, Cato the Elder.
Okay, Cato the Elder, I'm not familiar.
This guy was all about simplicity
Oh,
and self-sufficiency. I mean, he wore the same clothes as his slaves.
wow.
And, just totally rejected luxury. Hardcore.
Yeah, that's pretty extreme.
Do you think that's realistic for, like, most people today?
It's definitely an extreme example. But Holiday explains that Cato wasn't focused on deprivation, He saw frugality as a path to independence,
Right, right.
minimizing his desires so he didn't need external validation or material possessions.
I see. So it's about, like, inner freedom.
Exactly.
Like he was saying, I'm going to simplify my life so I can focus on what really matters.
Mm-hmm.
And Holiday connects this to the story of Reuben Hurricane Carter,
Oh, wow.
who was wrongfully convicted, spent years in prison.
Powerful story.
But he survived that ordeal by adopting, like, a similar philosophy,
It's amazing how, even in a situation where he had so little control, he found freedom by focusing on what he could control.
Right.
His thoughts, his actions.
It's a real lesson in resilience. It's easy to get caught up in wanting more, needing more.
Especially today.
But maybe Cato's like a good reminder to reevaluate what truly matters.
Absolutely. True freedom comes from needing less, not accumulating more.
Okay, so we talked about, conquering the body, attacking the dawn, simplifying our lives.
Right.
And then Holiday shifts gears and talks about the importance of order.
Okay.
He even mentions something as mundane as cleaning up your desk.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he uses the example of Robert Moses.
Robert Moses, okay.
This guy was like a driving force behind New York City's development.
Oh, wow.
He was super productive, and Holiday attributes some of that to his, like, meticulous organization.
So a tidy desk equals a tidy mind.
Yeah, I can get behind that, but is it just about, like, aesthetics, or is there something deeper going on?
Well, Holiday connects it to the idea of, outer order, inner calm, creating an environment that supports focus. Like Toni Morrison, who we talked about earlier, she also talked about finding that ideal environment for her work.
Yeah, she said something like, what does the ideal room look like?
Right. It's about shaping your space to support your goals.
Intentionally.
Exactly.
And finally, Holiday ends this section on physical discipline with a principle that really resonated with me, and that is just show up.
Ah, I like that.
He uses Thomas Edison as an example.
Makes sense.
Edison was notorious for his work ethic,
Oh, yeah.
always showing up, putting in the hours.
Yeah.
And he believed that consistent effort was the foundation of all his success.
It's not about waiting for inspiration to strike. It's about putting in the work day in and day out.
Do you ever struggle with that, finding the motivation to just show up?
Absolutely. Some days it's definitely harder than others.
It's reassuring to know that even geniuses like Edison had to deal with that.
Yeah, it makes it feel more attainable,
Right. So the key takeaway here seems to be that discipline is about consistently doing those small things right.
It's not about some grand, heroic effort. It's the daily choices, the little things that add up over time.
And that's where the real power lies.
Yeah.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
We've covered physical discipline,
Mm-hmm.
but Holiday doesn't stop there. He goes on to explore the realm of mental discipline,
Ooh, that's a whole other beast.
which is where things get really interesting.
I can't wait to dive into that.
All right, so we're back and still digging into Ryan Holiday's discipline is destiny.
Yeah, love this book.
So we unpack that idea of physical discipline, right?
Right.
Conquering the body, setting those routines, simplifying.
Yeah, the groundwork.
Now it's time to, like, tackle the mental game.
The mental game, yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. It's like mastering your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions.
Almost like a superpower, isn't it?
It kind of is, yeah, that ability to, stay focused and resist distractions.
Especially when things get tough.
Exactly. Holiday argues that mental discipline is crucial for making good judgments under pressure.
So where do we even begin with this, controlling the mind amidst chaos?
Well, he starts by highlighting the importance of hustle.
Hustle.
But
Fine.
not in the way we typically think about it, like just working hard all the time.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He uses a kind of unexpected example, General George McClellan from the Civil War.
McClellan, really? The guy
Right.
who was known for overthinking and overpreparing.
Exactly. Lincoln even joked that he had the slows.
Not exactly who I'd picture as the poster child for hustle.
Right. And that's precisely Holiday's point.
Okay.
McClellan's constant hesitation, the delays, it cost the Union big time.
They missed opportunities.
Yeah, Holiday uses this to show the danger of procrastination and overthinking.
We can get paralyzed by fear and doubt.
Right, and end up missing out.
So it's not just about working hard, but working smart.
And taking action.
But then he introduces this concept, festina lente.
Oh, yeah. Make haste slowly.
Isn't that a bit contradictory?
It seems that way, but what Holiday's getting at is finding the right balance between action and deliberation.
So speed and strategy.
Exactly. He uses the example of Octavian, who became Emperor Augustus.
Augustus, wow, the one who transformed Rome from a republic to an empire.
That's him. And he was incredibly effective, achieved a lot.
But wasn't it through careful planning, calculated moves?
Exactly. Holiday contrasts him with McClellan, who hesitated and missed opportunities.
While Augustus's deliberate approach led to lasting success.
Right. It's like you wouldn't run a marathon without a strategy, would you?
Definitely not. I'd probably collapse halfway through.
Right. It's about thinking things through, choosing your battles.
It's fascinating how he uses these contrasting examples.
Yeah, it's not about rigid rules.
But adapting those principles to different situations.
Adaptability is key, for sure. And that leads us to another crucial part of mental discipline, practice.
Ah, yes. The good old practice makes perfect.
Couldn't leave that one out, could he?
He wouldn't. He uses a bunch of examples to show the power of dedicated and consistent practice.
Like who?
Well, he talks about Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary samurai.
Oh, wow. Musashi, the author of the Book of Five Rings.
That's right. Talk about an authority on mastery.
What's the takeaway there?
Musashi believed in constant training.
Makes sense.
Always refining his technique, his understanding of swordsmanship.
So not just mindlessly repeating the same actions?
No, it was about striving for that continuous improvement.
And he doesn't just limit this idea to physical skills.
Right. He brings up Bill Bradley, the basketball star who also became a Rhodes Scholar.
Oh, wow. And a U.S. Senator, right?
That's right. It seems he applied this discipline to like every area of his life.
And to round it out, he mentions Joyce Carol Oates.
The novelist, yeah, she's incredibly prolific.
Like super disciplined writing routine.
Seems like that dedication to practice is a common thread among these high achievers.
Across different fields.
Yeah, a good reminder that consistent effort is key. But now, shifting gears a bit, Holiday dives into another fascinating example, Queen Elizabeth II.
The Queen, what an icon of composure and grace.
Absolutely, but think about it, constantly in the public eye.
Expected to maintain that decorum.
Amid scrutiny, changing times, that level of restraint has to be tough.
Holiday points out she does it with this quiet strength. Dresses simply, often wearing the same style.
No ostentatious display.
Substance over superficiality.
It's almost like she simplified her external life to make space for the mental and emotional demands.
Right, connecting back to that idea from Cato.
Simplifying, focusing on what matters.
Holiday also mentions she's incredibly well-informed.
Always reading, staying up to date.
Yeah, so even though she doesn't have direct political power, she understands the world.
But what I find remarkable is her mastery of restraint.
Right, constantly receiving information, observing, but rarely expresses personal opinions.
Doesn't interfere.
That reigning but not ruling concept.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes silence is golden.
Especially today, when everyone feels the need to have an opinion on everything.
Right. And that leads to another key aspect of mental discipline, managing our emotions.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Holiday uses George Washington as an example, known for his composure.
Even in those super stressful situations.
I read he had a fiery temper in his youth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he consciously worked to cultivate self-control.
That's impressive.
Holiday highlights how Washington adopted the phrase, in the calm light of mild philosophy.
I like that.
It was a reminder to approach challenges with reason, not impulsive reactions. So taking that pause, breathing, not letting emotions hijack our actions.
Responding, not reacting.
Do you think that's something anyone can learn?
I think Holiday would argue that it's a skill, just like any other. We can train ourselves to be more patient, more composed.
It's not about suppressing emotions entirely.
No, but channeling them constructively.
Especially important today, with so much information and stimulation bombarding us.
It's easy to get swept away by the tide.
Right, but Washington's example reminds us to stay grounded.
Thinking things through, responding thoughtfully, even when it feels chaotic.
It's powerful, and it leads to another crucial facet of mental discipline.
Which is?
Having a clear sense of purpose.
Ooh, that's a big one.
All right, so we're back, and we're wrapping up our deep dive into Ryan Holiday's Discipline is Destiny.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
We have explored, the physical discipline, the mental side of things,
Building that foundation.
but now it's about, putting those principles into action.
Right, the real-world application.
What does it actually mean to
Yeah.
live a disciplined life,
And Holiday doesn't just leave us with theory, he shows us through examples.
He does, yeah. And he starts with this Roman emperor, Antoninus Pius.
Antoninus Pius, okay.
So this guy was known for being like a mentor to Marcus Aurelius.
The Stoic philosopher.
Yeah. What's interesting is Antoninus Pius, he didn't just talk about discipline. He embodied it.
He walked the walk.
Yeah. And he set the bar so high that it inspired Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous advocates for self-control.
Wow, that's a powerful testament to leading by example.
It really is. It makes you think about who we're influencing with our own choices.
Yeah, the ripple effect of our actions.
But Holiday also, points out the potential downsides of, extreme discipline.
Okay, how so?
He brings up Cato the Younger.
Cato the Younger, right.
This guy was known for his, strict self-control.
Almost to an extreme, yeah.
Almost, yeah. But even Cato recognized that not everyone can live by those standards.
He didn't try to force it on others.
It's about inspiring discipline, not enforcing it.
Right, and recognizing that what works for one person might not work for everyone.
And finding that balance.
Yeah.
Holding yourself to high standards.
Without judging others.
Exactly. It's tricky.
It is. Holiday actually brings up Kobe Bryant, who was famous for his drive and high expectations, not just for himself.
And his teammates, too.
But then there's the example of the Brooklyn Nets, who had issues when some players resisted that culture of discipline.
Yeah, it shows the difference between pushing for excellence
and creating pressure and resentment.
True leadership is about inspiring people to embrace discipline, not forcing it.
Absolutely. And speaking of leadership, Holiday delves into the idea of courage.
Okay, courage, how does that fit in?
He uses Hemingway's definition, grace under pressure.
I love that definition.
So concise, but powerful.
True courage isn't about not being afraid.
It's about composure, making good decisions under pressure.
And he gives us a great example, General James Mattis.
Oh, General Mattis, highly respected leader.
This guy was known for sharing burdens with his troops, even the tough ones.
Not just giving orders from afar.
He was right there with them, showing leadership through action.
Earning respect, not just demanding it.
But discipline isn't just about enduring hardship.
What else then?
It's also about resisting temptation, right?
Yeah, that's a big one.
So Holiday contrasts Napoleon Bonaparte with guys like Washington and Churchill.
Okay, interesting comparison.
Napoleon's the classic example of unchecked ambition leading to downfall.
Consumed by his desire for power.
But Washington and Churchill, they were ambitious too.
But they knew when to let go of power.
They understood that true leadership is often about serving something bigger than yourself.
Putting principles above personal gain.
And that brings us to another powerful concept, turning the other cheek.
Turning the other cheek.
We often associate this with religious teachings, but Holiday presents it as a form of discipline.
Okay, I see, like choosing to rise above the urge to react with anger.
Exactly. He uses Martin Luther King Jr. as an example.
MLK, yeah, advocating for nonviolent resistance during the civil rights movement.
That commitment wasn't just a philosophy. It was a deliberate act of discipline.
Choosing a higher path, even when faced with injustice.
And Holiday connects this to Sandra Day O'Connor, first woman on the Supreme Court.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
She faced a very different kind of challenge.
What was that?
Her husband's Alzheimer's disease.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It had been so difficult.
Publicly and privately.
But she responded with strength, resilience, focused on her husband's well-being.
And used her platform to raise awareness.
Choosing compassion over bitterness, even when life throws you a curveball.
Finding that inner strength to face adversity with dignity.
But sometimes, discipline means knowing when to step back.
Even when you feel strongly.
Right. So Holiday talks about this idea of retreating with dignity.
Retreating. Interesting.
The ancient Greeks saw retreat not as weakness, but as a strategic move.
Like regrouping, to fight another day.
It's choosing your battles, realizing sometimes walking away is the most courageous option.
It takes discipline to detach from your ego.
And make the decision that serves the greater good, even if it means letting go.
Powerful stuff.
But ultimately, I think discipline is about more than just strategy. It's finding the strength to endure.
Life's challenges.
And Holiday brings us full circle, back to Beethoven.
Beethoven, wow, yeah.
Who kept composing even after he lost his hearing.
Imagine the discipline to create in silence.
It's incredible, a testament to his passion and resilience.
He didn't just endure, he actively chose to find meaning and purpose in his work.
It's inspiring, and Holiday leaves us with this final thought. Discipline is destiny. What will your discipline create?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It really makes you think, the choices we make, the habits we build.
It all shapes the course of our lives.
It's a call to action, an invitation to create the life we want.
I love that.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into Discipline is Destiny.
It's been a fascinating exploration.
We've seen how discipline can empower us to overcome challenges, achieve goals,
And live more fulfilling lives.
if you're ready to explore these ideas further, definitely pick up a copy of Discipline is Destiny.
It's packed with wisdom and practical advice.
And until next time, stay curious, stay engaged.
And stay disciplined.